Welcome to the screen demonstration on creating accessible Word documents. In this video, we'll review how to create and distribute accessible documents that are compatible with assistive technology such as screen readers and closed captioning. This video will review the accessibility requirements for your document in 5 key areas. Plus, we'll go over file naming guidelines and how to set the document's language. Interested in learning more? Check out the accessibility training video series on WakeTech's eLearning WTCC YouTube channel. The link is posted in the notes to this video. There's a lot to cover, so let's get started. Begin by opening a blank document, and let's go ahead and save it using an accessible file name. We'll want to create names that are logical, meaningful to all users, simple to read, and relevant. A best practice is to use accessible file naming conventions. For example, use lowercase letters and numbers, and separate words with a dash instead of an underscore. Keep the length of your file name less than 31 characters, and do not use spaces or special characters. That looks good. Now let's save the file as a Word document. Our document needs to have a docx file extension in order to run the accessibility checker later on. We'll also want to identify the default language of the document, so a screen reader will provide the correct pronunciation. Click on the Review tab, Language Group, Set Proofing Language. Here we see it's already set to English. Now we're ready to create a structure and add some content to our document. To do this, we'll be using built-in heading styles, which I've used here to break up the content into organized sections. Let's take a look at the headings we've applied by opening the View menu and check the box next to Show the Navigation pane. The headings appear in the left pane in a logical order. We used heading 1 to convey the top and presumably the most important level of information. As we add heading levels, they appear in the navigation pane, helping the reader find information more easily by clicking on the desired heading to quickly navigate to that place in the document. We can modify the built-in styles to create the desired look and feel for our document. Select the text you'd like to change and adjust the color, font, or size. Right-click and choose Update Heading to Match Selection. You can also use the Modify menu by right-clicking the style to make the same changes. Choose simple fonts that have good color contrast and are easy to read. Examples include Arial, Georgia, Tahoma, Trebuchet, or Verdana. Later in this video, we'll review tips for using color and contrast for accessibility. Another way to format text is to use lists. Lists are used to break up and simplify content. The built-in list feature has a structure that screen readers can identify. There are a variety of list styles, including bulleted, numbered, lettered, or multi-level lists. Next, we'll create columns of text by using the Columns tool. Select the text you'd like to format, then click the tool and select the number of columns. Column text is read from top to bottom and then left to right. There may be cases where a document has text written in different languages. Identify sections that use distinct languages so that assistive technology will read them correctly. Exceptions include proper names, technical terms, or foreign words that are part of the vernacular. Hyperlinks take the reader to another location when they click on active hypertext. All hyperlinks should be uniquely identified and describe the destination, function, and purpose of the link. Use consistent formatting for the link name and surrounding text. Avoid naming links with non-informative link phrases such as "click here" or similar vague references. Here's a suggested format for adding hyperlinks to your document. Add content before the link to prepare the reader for the upcoming action. Next, have descriptive text followed by the phrase "opens in a new window," and make this line the active link by selecting the text, click Insert Hyperlink. The Text to Display box at the top of the window shows the text you just selected, and you'll want to copy and paste the web page URL into the address box at the bottom and click OK. Ensure that your link is active and that it goes to the intended location. Always add an inactive plain text link to the URL. Any images or shapes you're using in your document need to have alternative text that conveys the same information as the image, so that those using a screen reader have access to what's represented by the visual. To add alt text, right-click the image or shape to get the Options menu, then select Format Picture or Format Shape. Under alt text, enter a meaningful description of the image. While it's not necessary to add a title, do not leave the description box empty. If you create your own image from 2 or more objects, group them together by holding the Shift key while selecting each one. Then click Arrange and Group. Then right-click the new grouped image and under Format Picture, enter a description in the alt text box. If you have complex graphics or diagrams, ensure that equivalent information contained in the long description that you enter in the alt text description box is also available as text in the document. For tabular content that can be visualized and understood as rows and columns, you'll want to choose a table object. Use the built-in Table tool by clicking Insert, New Table, and indicate the number of rows and columns you'll need. Think about the meaning that you want to convey by presenting content in this way. Write a textual description that provides equivalent information to people with visual impairment. The 3 formatting guidelines for creating accessible tables are to use a simple structure, specify a header row, and provide alternative text descriptions. A simple table has no split or merge cells, no blank rows or columns, and no cells nested inside of other cells. The screen reader reads cell by cell in a predictable sequence from left to right and top to bottom. The first row is the header row, and it identifies what each column represents. Here's how to specify the header row. Place the cursor in the top row, go to Table Properties, to the Row tab, and select Repeat Header Row. While you're there, make sure to remove the check mark next to Allow Row to break across pages, and over on the Table tab, set text wrapping to None. Alternative text is used in tables to describe the meaningful information the table is trying to convey. Open Table Properties, the Alt Text tab, and as a courtesy to alert the reader about what will be read next, add the word Table in the title field, and then enter a detailed description into the description box. Color and contrast are important accessibility considerations. If you convey information using color, you must also communicate it textually so that individuals who are blind, have low vision, or are colorblind can access comparable information. Good contrast is essential for many readers. Black and white is a good default combination. For questions about different color combinations, use a web-based tool that will check the color contrast ratio of background and foreground colors, such as WebAIM. The link for this is found in the notes of this video. For color visibility, this ratio should be at least 4.5 to 1. Color combinations to avoid are black text on a red background, red text on a black background, and using orange, red, and green for large blocks of text. If you plan to use digital multimedia in your document, it must give equivalent access to the content for people who are blind or have low vision, and those who are deaf or hard of hearing. All audio-only content should be accompanied by an accurate and complete transcript. Video-only content should have an accurate and complete text description of what is taking place in the video. Audio and video together is considered synchronized media and should provide time-synchronized captions of what is being said or a description of the relevant sounds for people who are deaf or hard of hearing. Media players should have closed captions, meaning those that can be turned on and off, and the player controls should be accessible by keyboard, or provide a hyperlink that will open the content in a new browser window. You'll want to check the accessibility of your document prior to sharing and distributing the file electronically. For Word files created before Microsoft Office 2010, some features, such as the accessibility checker, are not enabled. To make these files compatible, click File, Convert to save the file with a DocX extension. To run the accessibility checker, click File, Info, Check for Issues, check Accessibility. This feature searches for common accessibility errors and presents the results in the pane on the right. Follow the instructions to fix each one so that readers will have the best possible experience reading your document. A green check means your document is accessible. Success! Using the features reviewed in this video, you can create electronic content that all people with disabilities and those using assistive technology will be able to access, read, and understand. Thanks for watching!